Hello everyone, Dick here. Today I'm riding the 2023 Honda Transalp. The Honda Transalp is a 755cc liquid-cooled 8-valve parallel twin. It puts out 91 brake horsepower with a max torque of 55 foot-pounds or 72 newton meters. Top speed is 135 miles an hour. That is set within a tubular steel diamond frame. Fuel capacity is 16.9 liters. It has a seat height of 850 millimeters, which is just shy of 33.5 inches. Front suspension is 41mm upside-down Showa forks. Those are non-adjustable. Rear suspension is a single shock with preload adjustment. Front brake is two 310mm discs with twin-piston calipers and ABS, provided by Nissan. The rear brake is also a Nissan 256mm disc with a single piston caliper and ABS. The front tire is 21 inches, the rear tire is 18 inches. It weighs 208 kilograms. Suggested retail price is £9,500 here in the UK. As a past owner of 3 Transalps and a current owner of a 2001 Transalp 650, I have been cautiously excited to ride this bike, but I have been disappointed in the past, so I will not be blinded by the marketing monkeys hooting and hollering and throwing shit at us from their enclosure. I'm a huge fan of the CB500X, which in my eyes is and has been the natural successor to the Transalp since its debut in 2016. If Honda can build off of that gem and not be distracted by its more successful competitors in this class of motorcycle, we may just have something here worth talking about. As always, I have avoided any press and chatter about the bike I'm about to test ride, so strap in for an unfiltered take on Honda's latest crack at sport touring adventure. Hello everybody, it's Dick here. At long last, I'm on the Transalp 750, the new iteration of this name. I think they misnamed it off the bat. They can name their bikes whatever they want, but it really is a CB750X. While I was waiting to get on it, it was parked up next to a 2023 CB500X, and they're indistinguishable in some ways. My biggest fear of getting on this, being an owner of an earlier Transalp, is that Transalps were traditionally V-twins. And this being a parallel twin, again, makes it more in line with a CB500X than an earlier Transalp. I don't want to be negative from the off because there are things they've done very sympathetic to the earlier Transalps. It's kind of a quasi-Transalp. It's using the design language of current Hondas, stealing a couple of things from their competitors, i.e. this windshield a la 700 Tenere. But there are things like the rear rack, the tank almost. It's reminiscent, especially how the cowls come and hug it. There is something familiar about this. I cannot forgive the low exhaust. The sales pitch is that this is the road-oriented adventure sport tourer. But if you look at the old Transalps, that was the same thing. They were road-oriented, and despite them being road-oriented, they had a high exhaust. I also don't like how the engine's hanging off the bottom of this frame, because on the old Transalps, I mean, one of the weakest features was the frame. However, it was protective of the engine. The frame rails went below the engine, so even if you didn't have a bash guard, your engine was protected. This thing is exposed, and I'm sure they're going to sell some sort of elaborate protection because the catalytic converter is hanging low, and for some reason, I think the oil sump is this kind of teardrop shape that goes down lower than the catalytic converter. It's confusing to look at. Sitting on it, it's familiar too. The geometry, oh, did you see that? I'm shaking my hands, and that's causing this jitteriness. This is more technologically advanced than any Transalp you'll find. It's got 4.5, 5 if you include your user specified mode. It's got modes. It's got this whole Game Boy situation over here like the Africa Twin. It's got a nice sound. The engine off the bat reminds me, ooh, and a little suspension dive there. The engine off the bat reminds me a lot of the Tenere, of the Yamahas. I think the initial impression, the takeaway on this is that this is not the NC750 engine. This is its own punchier engine. It has an electronic throttle, which is obviously why they can offer modes. I'm in standard mode, and even in standard mode, this thing seems hyperactive. It's very punchy at the throttle, and it's very sensitive at the throttle, even in standard mode. Well, while I'm at the stoplight, you can see it's as high as my other Transalp, so balls in my feet. Not terribly high. Seat, I think, is 850 millimeters. I have a 30-inch inseam, so it's not terribly high for me. It's not taller than the old Transalp, so there's something familiar about it. It's a bit taller. It's a bit taller than the CB500X. Look at this guy. England doesn't have a lot of sun, but when it's sunny, it's really nice. More cabriolets, more convertibles per capita than any other country in the world. And this is why. Next little distraction. So the modes, I think you can change on the fly. I'm in rain mode now. You come off the throttle to do it. Huh. It's funny. It's like the engine's taking a hit for you. It's like taking a punch. It still wants to be hyperactive, but it cut. What are you doing? Oh, the joys of riding in fucking London. Engine braking is good. I'm really impressed with the engine in this short time I've been on it. I've been on it maybe 10 minutes. And the fueling isn't perfect. It kind of reminds me of early FTRs in the jerkiness of the fueling. But the engine itself, the responsiveness of the engine, and it's got a nice sound, even though the exhaust is low. Why am I sitting in traffic? Let's see about filtering. Dual discs on the front, 21-inch front wheel. Got a nice clunky transmission. Just kind of drops into place like a Japanese transmission should. Seat's a little hard. Damn it. Fucking one-way system around this town. I'm already getting a little pain in my ass. There is a threat of vibrations on this. Through town here, I can't get up to the RPM that I experienced it earlier. but around 3,000 RPM, there is noticeable high frequency vibration in the handlebars and at the foot pegs. Nothing in the seat as yet, and I haven't been able to get it over 4,000 RPM. The throttle on the off is a lot tamer if you do this stop-start stuff in second gear. The windshield is non-adjustable. Come on, man. The horn button is tiny. I guess start and stop stuff in second gear needs a little more juice. The horn button is tiny for a Honda, but I guess they have to do that to put this fucking Game Boy thing on here, that if I owned this, I'd never use it. Oh, there was just an ABS blinky light on the dash there. I don't know why that happened. I wasn't using the brakes at the moment. Showa inverted forks. Suspension is fine. It's cushy, bouncy. Not bottoming out with my fucking heavy ass doing this. Standing up was comfortable. Yeah, proportions are right. The proportions are perfect. I'm not a fan of, I'm in rain mode and I'm still getting, that's just very little input. It's funny how the throttle response is supposed to be dulled in rain mode, but all I'm getting is more movement in the throttle before it engages. It doesn't seem to be deadening the throttle response. It just seems to be postponing it. Gravel. What does gravel do? Oh, so I've turned the ABS off. Throttle response is 3/4. I don't know what P means, and I don't know what EB means. There's like all this information up here, and there's tabs like there's tabs on it like a spreadsheet. So you got to use the Game Boy to get through the spreadsheet. Oh, they closed the roads. They've closed the roads. Permit holders. Huh. User mode, sport mode. There's no postponing of the acceleration. That's good. I like that. Sport mode is good, but it gets me up to those, it gets me up to those RPMs very, very quickly that I wasn't able to get up to in standard and rain mode. And I'm at 3,000 RPM right now, and I got a lot of vibration in the handlebars, right in my grips, and in my foot pegs. Oh, and it's very, very jerky on the throttle. You have to be very, very controlled. There's very little allowance on that throttle hand. But yeah, that's cool. I like that. Oh, rear brake is interesting. It's very firm. It's very firm, but it doesn't feel like it locks up. It gives you like a firm assurance. Yeah. I know on my other Transalp, the brake is splashy. I always thought the brake felt a little splashy. It is 23 years old. But you can rest on that lever, where this one, it's good. Good brakes. Dual discs. What else can I say? Getting that, ooh, whoa, 4,000 RPM. Those foot peg vibrations go right up to my balls. Getting, I don't know how effective this windshield is. I feel like a lot of wind is coming around it. The problem with coming to Richmond Park on the weekend are these lycra-clad cyclists who think that they own the place. I am also a lycra-clad cyclist when I ride my bicycle. However, I realize that I'm even more vulnerable than riding a motorcycle. I don't know how putting on lycra and riding a 15-pound carbon fiber bicycle gives them the confidence that they're invincible against larger vehicles or machines, or that their entitlement is somehow going to shield them from death, or their superiority is going to resurrect them to tell us that we were wrong when we rolled over them because they cut us off or rode too close on our bumper. I thought coming out to Richmond Park would give me a little breathing room compared to the roads around here, but it's as congested, if not more congested, than everywhere else in the city. I'm gonna get a lot of flack for saying this, but these vibrations are as high frequency and as annoying as the ones I experienced on the Triumph Rally 900. If you like that video and you want to see more like them, hit like, share, and subscribe.